J.J. McCarthy has not thrown a touchdown pass in a month. Road test presented by Goodyear, and he'll be hard-pressed against this Ohio State defense. They'll have to earn it, but so too will Kyle McCord and the Buckeye offense. These two defenses allowing 9 points per game and right around 250 yards or a little bit less in the case of Michigan. So, you know, these two defenses are great, but there are weapons out there.
Yeah, defenses are certainly dominant, and a good way to beat a dominant defense is to have weapons in abundance. And this Ohio State team has just that. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. gets a big conversation, as he should. He's a top player in the country. He'll be a top player on Sundays when he's in the NFL. But let's look at some guys that you're going to hear about today that are on the Ohio State offensive side that maybe we haven't chatted about nearly enough. Running backs. TreVeyon Henderson, okay? He just walked by me over here, an absolute dog. He's not just a monster, though. Sees two guys, right? Let me go ahead and cut. And then, another cut. And he's out the gate against Minnesota a week ago. He has vision, he has power. Emeka had over 1,000 yards last season. This year, he's been banged up, a little bit injured. But he's saying he's healthier than he's ever been. Last week, able to get the end-around jet sweep, utilize his speed, should be even better this weekend than Cade Stover, #2 receiver in Ohio State's team. Kyle McCord has fallen in love with throwing the football to this guy because not only is he always open because he makes contested catches, but because he has freak show athletic ability. And then speaking of freak show, here's the freak show. Marvin Harrison Jr., his body control, his hands, his football IQ. He was created to be a superstar. He played high school football with that guy, and they picked up right where they left off then this season. And Kyle McCord's playing his best football with everybody around him, Kirk.
Yeah, he's had a big year, and I think this is where you find out how good a player he is. I think a lot of people, it's big shoes to fill with C.J. Stroud, and now it's his opportunity to kind of make a name for himself, but it'll come down to this game in these next 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch him grow and develop as a quarterback throughout the season. We were at the Notre Dame game, but he's gradually, progressively gotten better and better. And I think TreVeyon Henderson has a lot to do with that, too.
Yep. Did you see him back here, by the way? He just walked by.
Absolutely.
We got some monsters on this field.
And since he got healthy, he's been over 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. We've talked about the weapons that Ohio State has. Michigan has weapons, but they want to break your will and run the ball if they have their offensive line completely healthy.
They really do, and that's their MO. That's how they're designed. They're made to just pound and punish the defense for 4 quarters. But when they want to throw the ball, let me show you some weapons that J.J. McCarthy has at his disposal. We'll start with the tight end, Colston Loveland. But before we start talking about this play, watch number 20, Khalil Mullings, pass pro, former linebacker, puts the blitzing linebacker on his butt. Okay, now let's talk about Loveland. He's in a wing position right here. He's going to run an out and up. For this play to work, Tyler Morris has to force an inside release, so Loveland will have the whole sideline. Loveland is a matchup nightmare for any linebackers. They cannot check him. He's the guy who J.J. looks for early and often when he wants to throw the ball. And here he is now, flexed down in the hash. This is going to be 4 verticals against Sparty. The defender who's on Loveland is playing the skinny post. Watch J.J.'s ball placement. Excellent back shoulder throw on this play right here. And you can see Loveland just uses his body. An underrated playmaker, he's going to play today. Roman Wilson, averaging 16 yards per catch, 10 touchdowns on the season. A post route right here. Now, it looks like there's great blocking. They're going to run a stunt. Color's going to show. JJ's going to escape, but he's going to stay in phase with Roman Wilson, keeping his eyes down the field. Easy pitch and catch for a touchdown. Roman Wilson, Colston, Loveland, those are guys in the passing game that JJ looks for early and often. There's JJ right there. The last 2 games against Penn State and obviously against Maryland, wasn't throwing the ball a lot. They said he was a little banged up. He's supposed to be healthy today, and those 2 right there. Blake Corum, who's finally healthy for an Ohio State game, he told me this game means a lot to him because he's never been full strength against the Buckeyes. Of course, you got Donovan Edwards right there. Had a big game a year ago on the ground, but I also believe he can be a weapon in the passing game, too. He's an excellent receiver out of the backfield, Kirk.
Yeah, and he's got the diversity to be involved in this offense. Remember, Michigan does such a good job with formations. personnel groupings. They run different schemes, really test the Ohio State defense's eyes. Remember last year, Jim Knowles' defense last year, all the moves about in the previous season was to bring Jim Knowles in to fix the problems, and he did until Michigan and Georgia. But he spent the entire offseason saying, you know what, I'm at Ohio State. I'm not at Duke. I'm not at Oklahoma State. I don't need to roll the dice and play zero and blitz and do all the things that I've done. I think I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, have safeties on the back end, and try to avoid those big plays. And it's worked out for him up to this point, limiting explosive plays. Remember this last year late in the game? They loaded up the line of scrimmage. They test you on being gap sound and an inside zone play. You miss a tackle. Where's the safety? They got everybody at the line of scrimmage, and this is something that I think they went back and really looked at. Here's Notre Dame this year. Still kind of have 8 guys up tight near the line of scrimmage. This play breaks, but you got a safety, and he's got eyes on the ball. There you go. Instead of being a 90-yard gain, it's a gain for 15. That's an eraser, having him in the back of the field, you know, the back of the defense. Again, cover 0, rolling the dice against Michigan, playing man-to-man. You miss 1 tackle, nobody left. There's not a safety there. How many times have you seen that in this game last year where Ohio State gave up those big plays? These guys are high-fiving on their way to the end zone. Well, here's against Penn State. You give up a play, that's okay, that's going to happen, but look how you have other defenders there to help out and prevent a 10 or 12-yard gain from being a 50 or a 75-yard gain. So I think they're very confident in that. The battle at the line of scrimmage, Tyreek Williams, 91, and this is it. Mike Hall is back. You heard Pete mention that. He has to win in the inside if Ohio State's going to have a good day of getting off blocks. This is not the same Michigan offensive line that it was a year ago. They're not as strong as they've been in the last couple years. So 51 and 91 will have to be difference makers with their quickness to allow Tommy Eichenberg to really be the quarterback of this defense.
Tommy Eichenberg also back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge.
He led both those guys in the middle. Yeah.
He was.
He's the quarterback of the defense.
You know, the X's and O's are important. You start looking at that great recruiting class that Ohio State had in 2021 with Marvin Harrison, with Tui Mogulau, with Jack Sawyer. If any of them were to declare for the draft, it's win today or never beat Michigan. So there's even that more added pressure. Steve, it's time now for you to make a pick in the game. Which way?
I got to go first in this one. Hey, I'm the rook. I'll go first. Listen, I think first and second down are so important for Ryan Day and this Ohio State offense because with this crowd, the way it looks like, and they're coming in, third down is going to be enormous. I do believe Ohio State has the defense to slow this game down. I think 23 points wins the game. I'm going to take Ohio State in the upset.
Ohio State.
Getting 3.5, so you're picking straight out win the game.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing about
Michigan.
One thing about the Ohio State defense, they lead the nation in touchdowns scored tied. They've scored 4 times on defense this year. They can get a defensive touchdown. Something of that could certainly slow down this huge crowd. Half hour.
That's Ryan Day in the middle of that, bouncing around.
Ryan Day ready to stick his face in the fan.
My man.
Give me something.